Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse is brought to you by Dynacor.
Scandanavia is where the junior action is. This is Paul Harris of Kitco Mining at the Deutsche Goldmesse conference in Frankfurt in Germany. And joining me today to discuss is Taj Singh, President and CEO of First Nordic Metals. Taj, welcome to Kitco.
Thank you for having us, Paul.
Now Taj, First Nordic has picked up a potentially massive gold district in Sweden with more than 100 kilometers of strike length. How did you acquire it and what makes this area so special?
So First Nordic Metals was formed through the merger of Gold Line Resources and Barsele Minerals, which closed in mid-late February this year. Gold Line kind of owned 80 kilometers of strike of the Gold Line belt, huge position, largest landholder there. And right in the middle, between our kind of two large land packages on the belt was the Barsele project, which is a JV between Barsele Minerals and Agnico. We merged the companies together, and now we've got the entire belt with right smack dab in the middle, 2.5 million ounce gold resource.
Now, Taj, you're perhaps better known for the companies you've worked on in the past in Mexico and Argentina. Coming over to Sweden, that's quite a leap, literally and figuratively. How did Sweden get onto your radar?
I think really Sweden and Scandinavia generally, Sweden and Finland have gotten a lot of attention lately. For me, the positives were, listen, it's a first world nation, it's a developed nation. But really when I started digging into it, it's really ready and set to go for mining. It's an amazing kind of tax structure for companies. Long history, especially Sweden, of mining. One of the largest iron ore producers historically, large base metal producer. And very much mining is gaining favor in the country. So, that kind of was an important piece for me, is the ability to get business done. And there's really a focus on moving mining forward in a big way in Sweden.
Now, Sweden is already the most important mining country in Europe, and together with its neighbour Finland, Scandinavia looks set to become a powerhouse in the production of many kinds of minerals for many years to come. Why is that?
Again, I mean, I alluded to it in the previous question, but I think it's a big thing that I found is how favorable it is to operate there. You're getting extremely low cost power. It's probably top decile in the world. Exploration costs are unbelievable, and as I said, production costs are unbelievable. You have, again, access to low cost power, skilled labor, a very mechanized kind of efficient mining. It's got a lot of advantages here.
Now, for you're a junior company, you're listed on the Canadian exchanges. The Canadian exchanges may not be too familiar with Sweden or Scandinavia. How important is it, therefore, to have big companies like Boliden, Agnico Eagle Mines actively mining in the region?
I think it's very good to have leaders like that, world leaders, really moving and putting a big effort into the country. And Agnico's been, their Finnish Kittilä mine has been seeing a lot of capital expansion. You're seeing a lot of activity increase in Finland. Rupert Resources has had great success there, but many other companies in kind of the north and central part of Finland have done well, and now I think Sweden's time is here as well.
Okay, now one of the key themes of this year, the key stories, has been the rise in the gold price to almost $2,400 per ounce. It's pulled back a bit from that level. Copper's at $4.50 a pound. The metals pricing is doing very well, but we haven't really yet seen that translate through into the equity prices of companies. Why do you think that is?
I think the gold price has risen rapidly here. I'm extremely bullish. I think interest rates haven't even dropped, and we're seeing gold move up, and I think interest rates will drop by the end of the year, and you're going to see an extreme surge in gold prices, which is highly encouraging. But I think what's happening is, to the investor, they don't know if is this gold price increase beating the cost creep and the cost escalation that you saw over the past few years. And I think really you're seeing in Q1 now huge beats, earnings beats, and I think it's really hitting the bottom line. I think another quarter of that showing the effect of the increase in gold price on the bottom line, and it's going to hit the bottom line completely. I think you're going to see huge kind of, even generalists start to come back into the sector because of that price increase. But it's not been baked in yet at all, I agree.
So we don't have to wait too much longer for stocks to start catching a bid?
No, I hope not, and I don't think so, based on what we're seeing.
Well, let's bring this home to sort of the junior explorer sector, junior exploration sector, because obviously you depend on equity investments to fund the work you do. How are the markets for juniors at the moment? Again, metals prices are high, but whilst we've seen some big bought deal financing starting to happen, it doesn't seem that there's been sort of mass percolation of financing throughout the sector.
Yeah, I think it's still a challenge, I'll tell you. For the past 4 or 5 years, compared to what I've dealt with previously in my career, it's been an extreme challenge. I think it's getting a little better here, and what you'll see is some of these kind of like unloved or marginal projects, they'll get that window where gold or silver or what have you surges up, and they'll quickly go try to take money. I think there's always going to be money for good projects, but I truly believe, yes, it's a challenge right now, and I think, again, as you see the equities re-rate, you're going to start seeing the ability to go raise capital is going to become easier.
Okay, we're at an investment conference here at Deutsche Goldmesse in Frankfurt in Germany. What's the sort of reaction you've been getting from investors? And is the fact that you have a project in Europe, is that an added attraction to the people here?
So listen, I think the buzz around here has been actually really good. A lot of people are saying this is more investors than they've seen at this conference, for example, than they've seen in a while. And going to various conferences through the year, I think the buzz is really building anyway. So listen, I think there's definite kind of a feeling that things are going to move in the right direction. I think a lot of people are putting their eyes back on the sector. And for being in Europe, I think 100%. I think that's why we for sure knew we had to be here, for example. Europeans want to support European projects, which is fantastic. And I think we're getting more attention, even more, from Europeans here by having a European asset base.
Excellent. Well, congratulations there. Now, another thing that can generate excitement in the investor space, of course, is M&A. We've been seeing a lot more of that in the past quarter, including in Scandinavia as well, with Rupert Resources looking to buy out the B2Gold's participation in the joint venture they have with Orion in Finland. This must shed some more positive light on the region. How are there M&A deals that you've seen so far that you particularly have stuck out as being really good ones?
Yeah, listen, that is one example of, I think, a lot of action heating up specifically in the area we are. I think you'll probably see even more in Scandinavia, and specific to that name, I think you're likely going to see something. I think M&A has definitely picked up. I think an interesting one that I thought was neat was the Agnico Resources in Africa that was first offered by an offer by Dundee Precious, and then got outbid by a Chinese company. It's just an example of one, but I think there's a lot of exciting things. I mean, Silvercorp just did a deal recently with some M&A in South America, Central America. I think it's just starting. I think you're going to see a lot of M&A happen here.
Is there a deal out there that you think makes a lot of sense that you'd like to see happen?
I mean, I think the one that's obvious. A lot of people had predicted months in advance that Great Bear was going to be taken out, and they were right. I think one that makes obvious sense to me, which is good for us as well, is the Rupert Resources takeout. I think something's going to happen there. It's a fantastic project. They progressed it along beautifully. And maybe selfishly, I want that to happen because I think a lot of attention and light will be put on Scandinavia. But I think that one makes obvious sense to me.
Okay, let me put you on the spot, Taj. Who do you think is going to end up with that?
I don't know. It could go to anyone, from a mid-tier to a major. Obviously, Agnico's in the area. They've got Lundin Mining, Lundin Gold. There's a lot of things that could happen, right? There's a lot of mid-tiers, Centerras, IM Golds, Eldorado. So who knows where it's going to go? I think that's what makes it exciting.
You've got a good spread there.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I've covered my bases by not saying anything.
No,
and I actually really don't know, which is what I guess makes it exciting.
Okay, now as we discussed earlier, you've got a 100-kilometer sort of trend to explore. What are the goals this year? Where do you want to advance the company this year?
So this year the focus is number one is the drilling will be done on Barsele. We're going to be putting out a press release shortly here. Drilling has started at the Barsele project by Agnico. They'll continue to advance and de-risk that. I think a big advantage for us is we're fully carried at the Barsele project. On our 100% owned properties, The big focus, what I believe will become Barsele 2, is the Powbacken discovery that was made in Gold Line in 2021, 2022 kind of timeline. It's never really seen the work it should have because the markets were tough. That is a discovery that we're definitely going to follow up on. We'd love to put about 5,000 to 10,000 meters into an initial drill program at Powbacken. And then in the north of Barsele, about 20, 30 kilometers north of Barsele, is our 100% owned Storjukten project. We're going to be doing some base of till drilling and then some geophysics and get that set up for kind of an early 2025 maiden drill program as well. So, I mean, long story short, Paul, I think we have a position on a belt that if you had this in the Abitibi, for example, with a greenstone belt, you'd have 8 to 10 companies on this, right? We are the one sole owner of this entire belt, 100 kilometers of strike. I think truly the vision here is finding 2, 3, 4 Barseles on this belt and making a real gold camp out of this. And I think that really puts us in a unique position.
In terms of how you get there, a lot of people we speak to have spoken with recently are talking about some of the new exploration tools becoming available, the greater use of technology in exploration, and obviously with a 100-kilometer target, strike length targeting is, I imagine, one of your sort of key challenges. Are there any particular technologies or techniques you're using to try and really hone in on what could be the richest ground?
I think the methodologies you need to use in Scandinavia are pretty the tried, tested, and true, and pretty specific and unique to the area because you've got glacial till, anywhere from 5, 10, 15, 20 meters of glacial till covering the ground. You have to do this, what we call base of till drilling. And the Ruperts have done it, the Agnicos have done it, the B2 Golds have done it, where you put 50, 30, 40, 50 meter holes and do a grid. And kind of that helps you hone in on the anomaly. And geophysics are a big part of this as well, right? Because it's covered, you really have to rely on these kinds of methodologies to move a project forward. And honestly, that's the opportunity, right? This part of the world has been unexplored. I think this is the least explored greenstone belt in the world. So the tried, tested, and true methods will work, but it is definitely unique to this area.
Okay, you mentioned you've started drilling. When can we expect to see some results coming from that?
You're going to see soon coming up results from base of till drilling within the next few weeks at both Powbacken as well as geochemical work at Storjukten. And then later on in the year, kind of the fall, we'll look to be starting our drilling at the Powbacken project. So some coming now, we'll be busy through the summer, and then you'll see more in the fall.
Excellent. Well, I wish you the best of luck with that, Taj. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Paul.
I am Paul Harris, and this is Kitco Mining.
Kitco Mining's special coverage of the Deutsche Goldmesse is brought to you by Dynacor.